Boros whistles for Rover to follow him as he and Genos run to the Hero HQ. Tatsumaki is ahead of them, given that she got a head start and can generally fly faster than they can run. She decides to put the whole Boros thing on hold for now, and increases her speed further, blasting off at top speed toward the Hero HQ. Meanwhile, the Hero Association workers are in a panic. Evacuations by helicopter are on the way, but it's clear that most personnel won't be able to escape the building before the monster gets here. Busho runs into one of the observation rooms and asks for a report on the situation.
A monster emerged on the shoreline and is making its way here. It appears to be made entirely out of water and is estimated to be around 100 kilometers tall. There's no way. Can a living creature get that big? According to Metal Knight's scanners, that's the confirmed height. We've sent out all available S-class heroes to try to stop it. Metal Knight's drones and missiles, Dark Shine, Flashy Flash, Tank Top Master, Metal Bat. Those are all the heroes at the scene so far. But even with all of them there, the monster shows no signs of slowing down at all. If the monster really is that big, nothing short of a nuclear bomb will make a dent. Terrible Tornado is the only hero who can replicate that kind of scale without spreading radiation all over the place. Where is she now? She's in the hospital, but her release date is due tomorrow. She should have heard the announcement. We can only wait and see. How much time do we have before the creature reaches us? About 5 minutes at most.
Busho frowns before sprinting out of the room and calling Metal Knight.
Metal Knight, is there any chance the base can repel that thing?
The structure is solid. It can withstand most weapons with ease, including nuclear ones. But I'm afraid it probably cannot withstand that amount of weight. If the creature submerges the building, it will be crushed in under a minute. I'm activating long-range defense lasers and missile launchers, but it will take too long to transport my most powerful weapons to the site. If the defenses fail to stop the monster, you should prepare for the worst.
Not very reassuring. Do your best, Metal Knight. We're counting on you.
Busho ends the call and rushes to the roof of the building. At the same time, a Metal Knight drone tells all the heroes trying to combat Evil Ocean Water to scatter and run toward the Hero HQ. He's about to activate his long-range defenses, so they need to clear the area to not get hit by them. The heroes, seeing nothing they can do to combat the creature, do as they're told, and Metal Knight activates his weaponry. From the top of the Hero HQ, a giant cannon emerges and fires off a massive laser right at one of the eyes of Evil Ocean Water. The beam hits and seemingly drives the monster back a bit. Giant clouds of steam rise from the evaporating water. Seeing this, some of the heroes start cheering. This is the first thing that's been able to phase the monster so far. However, moments later, the laser is suddenly met with resistance. Ocean Water activates an ability of its own, the Great Oceanic Cannon. The cannon clashes with the beam and, slowly but surely, overpowers it. Everyone's jaws drop as the Great Oceanic Cannon suddenly doubles in size and completely obliterates Metal Knight's beam. It doesn't just stop there, though. The immense stream of water continues flowing and soon crashes into the top of the Hero HQ, annihilating the laser cannon. Inside the building, Busho stares in shock as the stream of water vaporizes the Hero HQ floor above him. If the monster had aimed just a few meters lower, Busho doesn't want to think about it. Even before he can't believe his eyes. His laser, which was designed to kill dragon-level monsters in one shot, overpowered so easily. This creature is seriously dangerous. The scientist initiates the second defense wave. Dozens of missile silos emerge from the sides of the Hero HQ building and fire off hundreds of high-potency missiles at the incoming water. The water absorbs the projectiles, which explode inside its body, creating showers of vapor as they vaporize parts of the living ocean. However, despite the explosion, the creature keeps advancing like nothing ever happened. its evaporated body parts soon fill with even larger quantities of water than before. The monster grows even larger as it absorbs water from the ocean, as well as moisture from the air. All the heroes look on in horror as the creature gets closer and closer to the Hero HQ. They do their best to fight back, but all of their slashes, punches, and kicks are completely ineffective against the living tidal wave. The best they can do is keeping themselves from drowning. Flashy Flash suddenly thinks of a way he could help out though. He could rush into the Hero HQ at top speed and begin carrying people out of the building. However, even with his speed, Evil Ocean water is now a mere 5 kilometers away from the building and is about to collide with it. He wouldn't get everyone in time. And where would he drop the people off? On the ground a few kilometers away? They just get swept up in the water anyway. Still, the heroes refuse to give up. They keep fighting, but it's just no use. Evil Ocean water raises a massive lump of water into the air and prepares to crash it down on the Hero HQ with all its might. Busho, standing at the top of the building, looks on as the gigantic wave falls at him. The man closes his eyes, preparing to meet his demise calmly. He thinks of all the things he's been able to do in his life and smirks. He's directed so many heroes to locations of monsters, indirectly causing those monsters' deaths. And now he's about to get crushed by a monster. Perhaps this is a fitting end for him. Busho sighs as he accepts his fate. A moment later, a gigantic crash is heard and the entire building shakes violently, causing Busho to fall off his feet. However, strangely enough, the man realizes that he's still alive.
Seriously, can't anyone here do anything without me?
The voice of Terrible Tornado echoes through the battlefield. Busho opens his eyes to see a massive dome of green energy covering the Hero HQ. The monster's attack has been blocked. The Rank 2 S-Class hero Tatsumaki arrived on the scene just in time. The other heroes soon notice, and some start cheering. High in the sky, the Esper sighs. She was just barely able to put up the barrier in time, and while it stopped the ocean's initial crash down, now the creature is submerging the entire dome, and its weight starts applying pressure to the shield. Tatsumaki winces a little at feeling the immense tension her shield is being put under, and focuses on strengthening it.
You're certainly a big one. But that makes you an easy target, too,
she says, preparing to launch a psychic attack on the creature to blow it away. However, Tatsumaki suddenly feels an immense wave of pain in her head, and blood suddenly splurts out of her nose. She gasps as she lifts one of her arms up to her face to check the bleeding. In that moment, the Esper's barrier wavers a little. A crack appears at the top of the dome. What in the world is going on? Boros and Genos run toward the Hero HQ when they see someone in front of them, seemingly also running in that direction. It's Fubuki. Once she sees them, the woman calls out for them to stop. The two S-Class heroes and their dog come to a halt next to her briefly.
What's going on? Why'd you tell us to stop? Take me with you to the battlefield. My sister's gone there. Normally, she should be able to deal with almost any threat. But if the monster attacking the Hero HQ is a strong one, she might be in trouble this time. What do you mean? My sister hasn't fully recovered from her last battle. The doctor said she'd be okay to return to the battlefield in a day or so, but that only applies to her physical health. Psychic powers take longer to recover. If Tatsumaki overdoes it now and goes all out, I don't even want to think about what might happen. Well, that certainly sounds troublesome. Fine, float yourself onto Rover's back and let's go. Double speed.
Meanwhile, Tatsumaki is doing her best to pull herself together. She realizes what's going on, and it infuriates her, but she can't go on the offensive and keep her barrier up at the same time. Normally, she could do both just fine, but when she's in the state she's in right now, she can only focus on one. Sensing the thousands of people still inside the Hero HQ, Tatsumaki decides on defending them and pours all her efforts into the barrier. She strengthens it to the point that the crack vanishes, However, the Esper is not sure how long she can hold out. And with the water creature having encompassed the entire barrier, the only way left for the people inside to evacuate is through underground tunnels, which is going to take a while. But things just keep getting worse. One of Evil Ocean Water's eyes slowly shifts upwards and locks onto Tatsumaki. The creature has noticed her presence. The Esper sees a spot on ocean water beginning to boil. Moments later, the monster shoots out a massive stream of water at her. The great oceanic cannon travels at Tatsumaki with great speed. She ducks out of the way and dodges the attack, but ocean water launches another stream at her soon after the first one. And then another, and another. It starts rapid-firing massive water bullets at Tatsumaki, forcing her to duck and weave to dodge them all. This makes it difficult for the Esper to concentrate on defending the Hero HQ. That's when the other heroes on the scene realize something they can do. They can distract the monster and direct its firepower away from Tatsumaki. Darkshine, putting all the strength he has into his legs, jumps up to the eye looking at Tatsumaki and delivers a super ally bazooka right into the eyeball, making it burst into small pieces. At the same time, Flashy Flash uses a flashy slash to chop up the ocean's other eye. This temporarily stops the creature's onslaught on Tatsumaki, but the eyes soon begin reforming. That's when Genos, Boros, Rover, and Fubuki arrive on the scene. They wonder where the Hero HQ is for a moment, before realizing that it's deep beneath the water's surface, in some kind of energy dome. It's obvious the dome has to be Tatsumaki's doing, but the trio doesn't see her at the moment. Boros smirks to himself at seeing the enormous creature. This thing looks strong. It might be fun to fight. A moment later, a figure crashes down into the ground next to him. It's Tank Top Master, who was blown away by a giant wave. He looks to be out for the count. That's when Boros remembers he can't fight this monster the way he'd like to. The alien has to keep his true body and abilities hidden from the other heroes.
Well, this is certainly complicated. How are we supposed to kill a creature like this? Regular blows likely won't work since it's made of water. Our best bet would probably be an energy blast powerful enough to incinerate the entire creature. Easier said than done,
Boros says before thinking to himself.
If I could use my true power, that wouldn't be an issue.
Suddenly, Fubuki points to the sky.
There's my sister.
Boros and Genos follow her finger's direction and see the Esper. She appears to be struggling. The group thinks of what they can do. Like Genos pointed out, they probably can't kill the creature with regular punches and kicks. And if they try to blast it with energy, they'd probably run out of stamina way before they could fully incinerate all the water. Still, they can't just sit and do nothing, so Boros takes charge.
Listen up. Rover and I are going after the creature. We shall attack it repeatedly for a while. Genos, you go up to the sky and observe the monster. Use your scanners and brain to pick up on as many details as possible. If we're lucky, we might discover a weakness or something. If not...
He glances at Genos, who gives him a knowing look.
If it happens, it happens. We can make do and deal with the fallout later.
He intentionally uses vague language so as to not give anything away to Fubuki, who's standing behind them, but he conveys his message clearly. If Boros needs to, he can take off the armor. Boros being exposed is better than the entire Hero Association HQ falling. Still, Boros hopes to keep this option as a last resort. Meanwhile, Fubuki is a bit confused at the wording, but with the entire ocean having seemingly come to life to kill everyone she knows, she's got bigger problems to worry about at the moment.
What about me? What should I do? Just stay back. You're not strong enough to take this thing on. I can't worry about you while I fight. But go!
Boros shouts as he hops onto Rover's back and the dog kicks off the ground, galloping toward the ocean monster. Genos activates the thrusters in his back and shoots off into the air. Fubuki is left on the ground, alone and dissatisfied. Darkshine blows away another portion of the ocean monster, but it doesn't budge and just floods the hero with more water. The same happens to Metalbat. Flashy is doing a bit better, as he's light and fast enough to run on the water's surface, so he runs along the creature's back and keeps slicing it up. It doesn't deal any damage, but the annoyance provided by these actions does distract Evil Ocean Water and directs his line of fire at Flashy and away from Tatsumaki. Metalbat is rampaging around the outskirts of the creature, blowing away portions of its body. However, in this rampage he fails to notice water beginning to boil behind him. The ocean monster is preparing to hit the hero with an oceanic cannon. But just as that's about to happen, Boros suddenly rams into the hero, pushing them both out of harm's way just as the cannon fires.
Hey, what was that for? I saved your life, dumbass. Didn't you see the attack this thing was charging up behind you?
No, and I don't care. I would have just pumped myself up to survive it. The punk hero declares before realizing who he's talking to. Oh wait, you're the new guy, aren't you? Congrats on getting into the S-Class.
This is not the time!
Boros shouts as he notices water begin to surround them on all sides, and unleashes every ounce of power that the armor will allow him to. Metalbat gets serious in a heartbeat and stands back to back with Boros as water encroaches on them on all sides. I hope I can count on you for backup, newbie.
Huh. You're the one who's going to be my backup.
Boros responds and the two heroes burst into action, plowing through the incoming water and fighting their way out of the encirclement. A few kilometers away, Darkshine is fighting all by himself and can barely keep himself from drowning inside of the monster. The ocean's attacks don't really deal any damage to the hulking man, but being suffocated to death is a real issue. Just as Darkshine is about to be submerged, 4 giant fire blasts land all around him, vaporizing some water around the man and giving him a chance to jump out of the danger zone. Darkshine is quick to take that opportunity. He jumps back to put some distance between himself and the water to regain his breath. During this moment of rest, he looks over to where the blasts that saved him came from, curious who could have helped him. But instead of a hero, he's met with a friendly face of a hound from hell.
Whoa, you're Kenji's pet. Where did you come from?
He asks, surprised, but not displaying any fear or hostile intent.
Did you fire those energy attacks to help me?
He asks, and the dog responds by wagging its tail and licking Darkshine in a friendly manner, which causes the hero to laugh.
I can totally see why Kenji wanted to keep you alive now.
Darkshine chuckles, but the moment is soon interrupted by Evil Ocean Water, who fires an ocean cannon at the duo. They quickly dodge out of the way.
Okay boy, give me some cover fire, will ya?
Darkshine calls out as he jumps at the water monster. On command, Rover starts firing off blast after blast, evaporating parts of the creature and helping Darkshine keep himself from getting submerged. However, even as all this is happening, the collective strength of all the heroes is not enough to even put a dent in Evil Ocean Water's offensive. To it, all these heroes are nothing but a small nuisance. And on top of that, Tatsumaki is starting to run low on stamina. She's doing her best to keep up her barrier, but it's becoming more and more apparent that she's nearing her limit. Meanwhile, Genos watches from above, picking up every movement in his peripheral vision with help from the advanced scanners in his eyes. As the monster continues its assault, Genos is able to make out a few key details. He activates his thrusters again and flies back down to the ground to speak with Boros. On the way there, he passes by Darkshine and Flashy Flash. He tells them to follow him, and all the heroes regroup at Boros' location.
You get anything useful, Genos?
I have a few leads. First, the monster does not have the ability to regenerate in a usual sense. It appears to be regenerating, but what it's actually doing is just pulling water from the nearby ocean to replace the water we evaporate. If we can sever the connection between this creature and the ocean, its regenerative capabilities will be greatly reduced. It does appear to be pulling moisture from the air as well, but if we are able to gather enough firepower, it shouldn't be enough to stop us from eventually vaporizing the creature completely. Awesome! Seems like we have a way to victory now. You're glossing over a lot of things. How can we separate that thing from the ocean? And where do we get enough firepower to vaporize its entire body? This creature is simply far too large for anything like that. Flashy Flash states, and everyone thinks of how they could possibly overcome both of these hurdles. Boros soon comes up with an idea.
I think I've got something, but it's going to take a lot of luck.
What are you thinking?
If Tatsumaki were at full power, she could probably put up a wall of energy between the monster and the ocean to separate them. If that were the case, we might be able to do something. But Tatsumaki is not in great shape at the moment, so it might be a bit too much to ask of her.
How would you know if she's in good shape or not? We ran into her sister on the way here and she told us.
In any case, we have no choice but to rely on her. Genos, go ask her to put up that barrier. Then come back and start blasting the monster with everything you've got. Rover will join in as well. The rest of us will keep the monster's attention away from you two. Let's try to make this quick.
With the plan set in motion, the heroes go into action. Genos flies up to Tatsumaki while everyone keeps ocean water distracted.
Tornado, how much power do you have left?
Have you flies thought of something?
We have, but the plan involves separating this creature from the ocean.
Do you think you could put up a wall to do that? Tatsumaki rolls her eyes. Of course, it's all up to her again. She's not sure if she can pull something like this off in the state she's in, while also keeping the barrier protecting the Hero HQ up. However, not wanting to show any signs of weakness, the Esper smirks.
Are you forgetting who you're speaking to? Of course I can,
she says before letting out a massive surge of power. Tatsumaki pushes her body to its absolute limit. Blood trickles down her nose and tendons in her arms snap. But the Esper pushes through the pain, and, moments later, giant walls of green energy emerge from the shoreline and sever the connection between the monster and its power source. Not done yet, Tatsumaki grunts in pain as she musters up the strength to extend those walls inland to surround the creature and prevent it from circling around the walls to reach the ocean again. With this display of power, Tatsumaki is able to completely isolate evil ocean water, surrounding it with walls from all sides.
There. Now go and do your plan. The walls won't hold out for long.
Genos nods and flies down to the group. With the monster isolated, step 2 of the plan begins. Genos and Rover begin blasting ocean water with everything they have, hoping to evaporate as much of the creature's body as humanly possible. Everyone else darts around the monster, diverting its attention. Boros and Darkshine take it upon themselves to destroy both of the ocean water's eyes. However, the creature is not incapable of thought. It realizes that what they're doing is the same thing as before, aiming for its vision. And the monster prepares to use that to its advantage. Right as Darkshine and Boros are about to reach its eyes, ocean water fires off an enormous oceanic cannon right from in between its eyes. The stream is so wide that the duo has no hope of dodging it.
Watch out!
Darkshine yells as he maneuvers himself in front of Boros, intending to take the hit for the both of them. The alien's eyes widen a bit. Why would this guy jump in to protect someone he barely even knows? This thought delays Boros' reaction slightly, and the stream hits Darkshine head on. The bodybuilder uses himself as a meat shield to protect Boros, but the force of the impact pushes the S-Class hero backwards, right into the alien. Darkshine's back crashes into Boros and both heroes are sent flying. Darkshine groans in pain as he feels the intense pressure of the water tearing into his skin. For the first time since he became a hero, his flesh is taking damage. The two heroes crash into the ground hard, with Darkshine landing on top of Boros. The alien puts his arms up to soften the impact, but it's no use. The crash causes cracks to form on Boros' armor. The alien curses under his breath as he lifts Darkshine off of himself. Seems the blast knocked the hero out. He's injured, but not too terribly. With some medical attention, he should survive. Boros takes a look at his power-limiting armor. It's a bit busted up, with cracks all over his forearms and some indents on his back. It's not too bad though, as the cracks are narrow, and there are no spots where his actual skin is visible. Boros can feel energy begin to radiate from his arms. Seems the suppression mechanisms in the cracked areas of his armor have been damaged.
Just great.
The alien mutters to himself before someone calls out to him. Boros turns around and sees Fubuki running at him a few dozen meters away. Seems he landed near her. The Esper runs up to the alien. She pants. Sweat drips down her face. It appears she's been running for a while.
What's wrong? You look beat.
I've been flying toward the battlefield. Boros frowns.
I told you to stay away.
No, you don't understand. My sister and I are linked. I can somewhat sense her state at any given time, and she's at her limit. If she keeps this up any longer, she'll die. This gets Boros' attention. He looks up a terrible tornado, and while it's hard to see from such a great distance, he does notice her figure trembling. At that moment, a crack once again appears on the barrier covering the Hero HQ.
You're right. This doesn't look good.
I'm going to my sister. I can help her if I get close enough. I know I can. Boros looks at the Esper with uncertainty, but after seeing how determined the look in her eyes seems to be, he relents.
Fine. Can you float yourself up to her?
I can, but it might take too long. I'm nowhere near as good at flying as my sister is.
Then what if I gave you a boost?
Boros suddenly wraps an arm around Fubuki's waist.
Hold on tight,
he says before crouching down. Fubuki's eyes widen in horror when she realizes what the man is about to do. Wait! Boros pulls all the strength he can muster into his legs and jumps with enough force to leave a crater when he kicks off of the ground. The duo flies into the sky at an incredible speed. Fubuki would curse if she wasn't so busy trying to keep her skin from peeling off due to the immense friction created by the speed of their movement. Moments later, the duo finds themselves high in the sky, just below Tatsumaki's altitude, and a few hundred meters away from her on a horizontal line.
Now, float us to her from here.
Boros shouts and Fubuki weakly raises her arms, creating a bubble of energy around them to keep them in the air. The Esper then grabs her mouth to prevent herself from throwing up. The jump really messed with her bodily functions. You jerk. You could have warned me. Nevertheless, the Esper knows they must hurry. She shakes off the nausea and, using her psychic powers, pushes the bubble toward Tatsumaki, who notices them a few moments later. The number 2 hero would shout for Fubuki to get out of here if she wasn't focusing every bit of her power into maintaining her barriers. Without interruption, Fubuki and Boros make it to Tatsumaki. Why are you here? You'll get killed. Get out of here. Tatsumaki forces herself to mutter out to Fubuki, but the younger of the two sisters stands her ground. I'm not leaving. You're at your limit and we both know it. I can help you. What can a weakling like you do for me? Just go. Tatsumaki shows a bit of rough love, trying to get her sibling to leave with harsh words, but Fubuki does not budge. I may be weak, and I may be incompetent in comparison to you, but you're not all-powerful. You'll die if you keep this up. I can help you. Please, trust me, just this once. Tatsumaki is surprised to see such a show of resolve from her little sister. Fubuki, who's afraid to take risks and rarely exits her safe space, is showing such bravery, risking her own life. Tatsumaki doesn't know how to feel. Her sister is showing such immense growth. It makes the Esper happy, but to think that the cause of this growth would be Tatsumaki's inability to save herself. How pitiful. The hero ponders for a moment before letting out a sigh. Perhaps having to be helped by her sister is the punishment she deserves for being unable to do this on her own. Fubuki notices the sigh and the look of defeat in her sister's eyes. Though Tatsumaki doesn't say a word, it's clear that she's accepted Fubuki's help internally. "This is what you get for being such a stuck-up brat, sis," Fubuki says as she morphs the energy bubble into a platform for her and Boros to stand on. She places a hand on Tatsumaki's shoulder. The Esper's never done anything like this before, but in a situation like this, she has to give it a go. Fubuki focuses all of her aura in the palm of her hand and channels it into Tatsumaki. A green flame erupts from her hand and engulfs the two sisters. But instead of burning, Tatsumaki feels a calmness wash over her. Her muscles, which have been screaming in pain up until now, are feeling better all of a sudden. They're healing. Tatsumaki can't believe it. Fubuki is actually healing her. She didn't even know something like this would be possible with psychic powers. When did her sister figure this out? The flame slowly dissipates. Fubuki smiles, content with what she was able to do. Tatsumaki's body is back in fighting shape. However, blood suddenly starts gushing out of Fubuki's mouth. The Esper used up all her power to help her sister as much as she possibly could, and it's left her drained. Fubuki starts falling backwards.
"I gotcha."
Boros catches her before she can plummet to her death. As Fubuki passes out, the platform keeping her and Boros afloat vanishes. Boros starts falling out of the sky.
"A little help here, Tatsumaki."
The Esper twirls her finger a bit and creates another platform under Boros' feet to catch him and float him back up to her. She looks at the alien with an unsure expression.
"What are you doing here?" "I got Fubuki up here into the sky, but that's about all." "If that's all, then take my sister to safety and get lost. There's still work for me to do,"
the Esper says before lifting up her hands to attack Evil Ocean Water. However, at that moment, another crack appears on the side of the Hero HQ's barrier. Tatsumaki's eyes widen. She tries to put more power into the barrier, but then a grim realization hits her. Fubuki restored only her physical body. After having spent so much time and energy on maintaining her barriers, Tatsumaki's stamina is running low. Her life may not be in danger anymore for the time being, but she's out of energy. More cracks appear on the barrier. Water starts seeping through and onto the Hero HQ.
No. This can't be happening.
She tries desperately to muster up some power, anything at all. But her tank is running dry. Very soon, her barriers will collapse. Boros looks down. He still senses people running around inside the building. If that wasn't enough, further away he notices smoke emitting from Genos. Seems he spent all his energy as well. Even Rover seems to be letting out little coughs every now and then. All the blasting has taken its toll on the poor dog. Darkshine is writhing in pain and Tanked Up Master is still out cold. Metalbat and Flashy Flash are running around and continuing the fight, but they're clearly exhausted. A few Metal Knight drones have even arrived and started dropping missiles and various forms of bombs and lasers on the creature. Boros looks over at Tatsumaki, desperately trying to maintain her shields. He can see the same determination in her eyes that Fubuki showed moments ago. She's really trying to help everyone and do her job as best as she can. Nevertheless, all that is simply not enough. The ocean monster may be a little smaller now than before thanks to everyone's efforts, but it's still far from done. The creature is about to break through the barrier separating it from the ocean. When that happens, all their efforts will go to waste. The Hero HQ will be crushed, and most heroes on the ground will probably die. Boros lets out a sigh. What a shame. He really did enjoy being a hero. Not living as an almighty lord that everyone fears was a nice change of pace for the alien. But continuing that life seems to be an impossibility now.
Tatsumaki, would you mind coming closer? Just float yourself over to me.
Tatsumaki, being as desperate as she is, does as she's told. Really, she doesn't know what else she could do.
Now give me your hand,
he says as he extends his own hand as if offering a handshake. Tatsumaki seems doubtful at first, but takes the hand soon enough. Boros smirks a bit.
Good. Prepare yourself. I shall lend you some energy. After seeing your sister do it, I think I can do something similar. I can't exactly heal you, but I should be able to give you enough power to maintain your barriers.
Huh? There's no way you'd have enough. Boros unleashes a burst of energy from his arm. The already cracked armor on his hand can't withstand the pressure, and shatters, revealing the alien hand of Boros. Tatsumaki's eyes widen in realization, but before she can say anything, she feels a surge of power running into her body. The energy is immense, greater than even her own full power. Her hair stands up, and her body shivers as the power courses through her veins. The Esper is utterly shocked at how much energy she's been given. If Fubuki hadn't healed her beforehand, she might not have been able to handle it. But even more so, she's shocked at the hand she's gaining this power from. It looks exactly like the skin of the monster she faced a while ago. Her suspicions were true. So why? Why is this monster helping her? She feels fear, of course, but the confusion of getting help from a monster she fought is more prominent than the fear inside her mind. She looks at the alien and utters a single word. Why?
Don't worry about that. You have bigger problems on your hands right now,
he says as he lets go of her arm.
Strengthen your barriers and protect your sister. I'll take care of the rest.
Tatsumaki is surprised to hear such a response coming from the mouth of a monster, but she complies. Having fought Boros already, she knows full well that he's strong enough to get the job done. And if he wants to do it, why not let him? Tatsumaki nods and takes Fubuki from his arms. Boros smirks a bit, though there is a pained expression reflected in his eyes. He tenses up the muscles in his back and lets out a surge of energy. The armor around his back and chest starts cracking and quickly breaks off. He puts a hand over his face and digs his fingers into the human face mask before ripping it off to reveal his true face. Boros' hair spikes up as he returns to his released form. His true form. Tatsumaki gazes upon the single eye of the alien, and her mind immediately flashes back to their battle. She backs away, still fearful, but it does seem that the alien is not intent on attacking her right now. You owe me an explanation after this is over, Tatsumaki says before raising her arms up and flexing her newfound power. All the barriers on the battlefield suddenly repair themselves and become twice as thick as they were before. There's no way ocean water can break through them now. Boros looks down at all the fighters below. He'll need to get them out of the way before he can fight properly. In less than a second, Boros drops down to the ground and sprints toward Metalbat. Without saying a word, he grabs him and carries him over to Genos and Rover. The alien puts Genos and Metalbat onto Rover's back, and then grabs the dog monster before carrying him out of the battlefield, jumping over Tatsumaki's barriers like nothing. He grabs Tank Top Master, Flashy Flash, and Darkshine on the way. All this happens so fast that the heroes don't even have a chance to register it. Boros puts everyone down outside of Tatsumaki's barrier and jumps back into the battlefield. He stands atop one of the walls Tatsumaki is holding up and looks down at the water creature.
You've certainly made things messy for me,
He sighs.
Strange, isn't it? I should be ecstatic about getting to fight you, but I feel irritated more than anything else. And you're responsible for that irritation.
At that moment, Boros lets out some killer intent, and ocean water immediately reacts to it by firing off a great oceanic cannon. The stream collides with Boros' body, but deals no damage whatsoever.
That's a nice replacement for a beam attack. But now let me show you what a real beam is supposed to look like.
Boros puffs out his chest and charges up a blast from his eye. Energy surges all around him like a fiery aura. Strikes of lightning and static electricity surround his body.
Go to hell!
Boros shouts as he fires off a gigantic energy wave right at the monster. The beam collides with the water and begins evaporating it at an unprecedented rate. Ocean water realizes what's going on, and it tries to shoot a few oceanic cannons at the alien, but they simply evaporate in midair before even getting close to Boros. The heat given off by his energy is simply too much. Evil ocean water can't do anything. It's trapped, and over the course of a few minutes, Boros completely vaporizes the entirety of the creature's body, leaving behind nothing but a giant wasteland. Thankfully, he didn't use enough energy to breach Tatsumaki's barriers, so the Hero HQ is still intact. The alien powers down and jumps from the wall to where all the other S-Class heroes and Rover are bunched up. They saw the immense energy blast and thought that maybe King or even Blast himself had shown up. To their surprise, now the source of energy is standing right in front of them. A tall, blue, one-eyed monster. And the resemblance between him and Kenji is strong. Everyone present figures out that they're one and the same almost instantly. Boros stares the heroes down, waiting to gauge their reaction. And that's where we shall be leaving things off for right now. I hope you enjoyed the video. What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I am super tired. This recording is over 1 hour long, and I have a week to edit it all. So, yeah, that's great. But regardless, with all that being said, I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Goodbye.